everyone. Welcome to another Book Review Wednesday, and today I'm going to be briefly addressing the short story by Hans Christian Andersen titled The Little Match Girl. I thought this one would be interesting to explore considering the fact that it is one of the more, I think, well-known short stories, at least around this time of year. And it sort of reflects onto something that I think is very prevalent and sort of part of the fabric of the holiday season, and really stays true to, I think, the essence of, more specifically, Christmas. But basically, the story follows none other than a little match girl, and she unfortunately comes from a abusive and poor home. And basically, in order to survive, she has to sell matches on the street. And it's emphasized that the place that she lives in, at least, is really cold, and she lacks sort of the proper clothing and whatnot. So she's definitely not born in the most nicest of circumstances, and she unfortunately ends up not being able to find anyone who's willing to purchase the matches. So, due to the fact that her family is abusive and she's worried that if she comes home with nothing that she's going to get beaten up, she sort of just decides to use the matches to warm herself since it's so cold. And as she's warming herself and lighting all of the matches, and seeing the brightness of the light, she sort of drifts off into her imagination and into her own dreamland, where she ends up sort of again living her fantasies of having food and shelter and most importantly love. And it is emphasized that her grandmother, I guess, was the only one who really loved and cared for her, but she unfortunately passed away. And you really do though see the essence of Christmas and her really longing for a better life, but unfortunately unable to sort of attain that. And it is very tragic in a sense. I mean, this short story, I think, really touches to the core. Which I think largely, primarily, is really what the holiday season is supposed to be about, which is caring. And it's sad to see that this little girl in particular was one who didn't have anybody that really ultimately cared about her or appreciated her or took some time to spend with her. So, and sort of made her kind of, go out and try to survive, but again, due to the fact of poverty and not being able to ultimately get people to purchase matches, you really do see how she feels like that nobody really ultimately has a genuine love for her. And it's sort of sad because you sort of see within the end of the short story how even the strangers around her sort of didn't really pay attention or really ultimately care, which I think is sad and unfortunate. But again, it's really does hit home to people to, really think about even giving, even if you don't really necessarily even know the person or really don't have any direct connection to them. I feel like it's important that there is some kind of care given to people. And I think it's really a crucial part for human survival. If you don't have a support system, it's very difficult to feel like you are capable of surviving, at least. And you really do see the hopelessness and the isolation that the little match girl sort of ends up going through, and how, as a result, she feels like that she would rather go someplace else than be in the life that she is living in, which is, I think, really sad. And I think life is definitely precious and something that everybody shouldn't take for granted. And we really only have one, so I'd like to think that I'd like to spend it, really having a sense of care. And I think this is really something that is true to the whole Christmas/holiday spirit um, at its core. And um, I really think it's definitely worth reading. I mean, it's really, really short. It's like almost, it's almost not even like even a page long. It's pretty short, but despite its shortness, it's the way in which the story is told, I think, really does grasp the audience's attention and really makes people ultimately think about the other lives that people may have. So I think, though, that's really ultimately all I can say about this particular short story. But if you want to see an adaptation of this, the Disney version of this, and yes, they did a story, really technically a short, uh, or basically just an animated short of this particular story, and that was actually really well done. So if you're interested in seeing it within that medium, I would definitely check that particular version out. I think that's definitely worth a recommendation, as well as the short story itself, which is really well written by obviously Hans Christian Andersen. Um, but thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a pleasant day, week, month, and year, and I hope to see you all in the next video. And goodbye. Happy holidays.